The difficulty with this is that if Kenny McCaskill turned up in America, even if Alex Salmond turned up, they wouldn't know who he was.
Well, they've asked to see him. They've asked to see him.
One or two senators may have done.
Oh, well, we didn't ask for you.
We
yes,
are assuming, just as, to expect the Americans to understand the complexities of UK devolution, I think is really asking a bit too much. So, I'm sorry, but, you know, we forget America is a very much more insular country than most of us believe. And when you visit America and you look at the newspaper stands and you look at the news, you know, they concentrate on the news in their state, perhaps a little bit about the federal level. They don't look at international things. So I don't think a lot will be served by doing it.
But they were the ones who are asking for them to go over, the Senate committee.
There are some people in America who are blaming BP for virtually everything, not just pollution in the Gulf, but they're sort of implying that somehow BP bribed British politicians, that we were corruptible, and that's why al-Megrahi was released. Now, I know that there is a general feeling that politicians are corrupted very easily. I happen to think that in the case of Kenny McCaskill and Alex Salmond, it was sheer inexperience of a new devolved government and not corruption.
Ruth Lee?
I think Alex Salmond should go and give evidence. But more to the point, I think there should be a full inquiry here as to the whole Megrahi incident. I would personally like to know if the British government actually put pressure on the Scottish government to make the decision it did. I would also like the whole issue of the Scottish government actually making this decision for Megrahi to go when it had such enormous international repercussions for Britain, whether that was actually the right thing to happen, whatever the legality. I remember when I heard McCaskill give the announcement that Megrahi was going to be released, I was deeply disquieted by that because I knew there would be implications for the rest of the country. I say, whatever the legality, I'd like to know about that. And I'd also like to know just how much the BP was involved in lobbying the British government in its relationships when Blair was having his meetings with Gaddafi about normalising relationships with Libya. Now, BP has already admitted that it was lobbying for the so-called prisoner transfer agreement. How much more lobbying did it do? Now, I don't know the answers to that. I suspect nobody in this hall knows the answers to that. But I think those are the sorts of issues, the role of the Scottish government, the role of the British government, and the role of BP that we should actually be investigating here. I think it's such a serious issue.
It was the Foreign Secretary, David Miliband, who said British business and security cooperation and interests of UK nationals would be damaged, perhaps badly, if Megrahi were to die in a Scottish prison rather than in Libya. Does this suggest to you, Damien Green, that there was pressure from the Labour government on the Scottish executive?
I don't know. Having no particular connection either with the previous Labour government or the Scottish executive. I'm not as cynical or suspicious as Ruth is. I think Alex Salmond and Kenny McCaskill probably took this decision in good faith, but the simple truth is it was the wrong decision. And I think one of the best things that's been achieved by the Prime Minister's visit to America this week is that he has told them in no uncertain terms, not only that he thinks it was the wrong decision now, when we know that this man is still alive many months after we were told that he would have died, but that at the time, David Cameron said it was the wrong decision. And I think that's a very helpful message for the British government to get out to the American government at the time. At the moment, it's clear that we do need some more transparency, and that's why he's ordered the release of the document. So if you're right, if there is any evidence of some kind of conspiracy between the Labour government and BP, or the Labour government and the Scottish government, let's find out. So let's publish those papers.
Okay, let's hear a couple of points. The woman at the very back there. I'll come to you, Bob Cronin. Yes.
Yes, Nigel, I'm sure you didn't expect any Americans to be here in Hartlepool, but hello. I take great offense to this idea that Americans wouldn't understand. Oh, who's that Scottish guy?
He said that. He said that.
Yes, and really, I think Americans are quite interested in international politics.
Really?
And especially, yes.
Well,
and
I'm amazed.
Nigel, you've heard your say.
Especially in the case of terrorism. And we do understand we can understand, you know, we have 50 states this is a situation where you've got Scotland, Northern Ireland, and England. So we can kind of understand how a man coming over from Scotland would be representing his government.
What would you like
and
to
it wouldn't confuse us, and we would be okay with that.
And would you like them to go over and explain?
Yeah, if he's the person who made the decision, of course.
OK. Bob Crow.
Well, I think if Alex Salmond wants to go over and give his reasons why, he should do. I've got nothing to disbelieve the reasons why he was released on compassionate grounds. If it's found out this bloke lives for another 10 years, though, it's got to be said that the medical people that they employed got it slightly wrong. And I'm sure there'd be a good claim for medical negligence against the English people. However, I would say this is not against you as an American person, but the American government's got some cheek to talk about some of the things that has happened over here, when it has got itself involved in illegal wars all over the world, dropped chemicals on people, tortured people, had the scenario in Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, and 5 Cubans languish in jail in America.